The knocking stopped before Cole reached the door, but the wet footprints didn't. Cole Coleman woke to knocking at 2 a.m., or thought he did. The sound came soft, uncertain, the kind that could be wind, could be dream. He lay still in the dark of his Montana bedroom, listening. January cold pressed against the windows. The knocking didn't come again. But he couldn't sleep now. He pulled on jeans, moved through the hallway. Downstairs, the oil lamp still burned on the kitchen table where he'd left it hours ago. Sarah's lamp. 6 years, he'd kept it burning through the night. That's when he saw them. Small, wet footprints on the porch wood, leading to his door. Not away. Cole opened it. A girl stood there. 9, maybe. Rail-thin in an oversized coat, no shoes. Her feet were blue-white against the dark planks, leaving water that was starting to freeze. She didn't run. Didn't move at all. Just stood there with her arms at her sides, shaking. Behind him, the lamplight spilled yellow across her face. For one terrible second, he saw Sarah. The girl's lips moved. Please. Cole stepped back. She came inside. He closed the door on the Montana night and the 10-degree cold and everything he thought he knew about being alone. The knocking had stopped, but everything else was just beginning. Cole Coleman hadn't spoken to a child in 6 years. Now he had one bleeding on his kitchen floor. She made it 3 steps inside before her legs gave out. Cole caught her on instinct, arms remembering something his mind had buried. She weighed nothing. Through the coat he could feel ribs, sharp shoulder blades. She flinched hard when his hands touched her, whole body going rigid. Easy, he said. Easy now. Her eyes tracked his face, waiting for the hit. Cole set her down gentle on the kitchen floor, backed up to give her space. That's when he saw the rest of it. Old bruises yellowing on her wrist, fresh ones purpling her collarbone where the coat had fallen open. Defensive marks. He knew the pattern. Had seen it once on a ranch hand's wife before she disappeared. The girl pulled the coat tight again, covering. Christ, Cole muttered. Lights swept across the windows. Frank's truck, coming from the foreman's cabin 200 yards out. The old cowboy must have seen the house lights. Knew something was wrong. Cole had worked alone for 6 years. Middle of the night lights meant trouble. Frank came through the door without knocking, stopped dead when he saw the girl. Boss, his voice stayed level. That a kid? Call Maya, Cole said. Don't call the sheriff. Frank's eyes narrowed. He'd worked for the Coleman family 30 years. Knew Cole since Cole was the kid on this floor. Doc Maya gonna ask questions. I know. Sheriff's gonna ask more. I said don't call him. Frank studied the girl, then Cole, then nodded once. Your call. He pulled his cell phone from his belt, stepped back outside. Cole turned to the girl. She'd drawn her knees up, making herself small. Her feet were worse up close, blisters forming where the cold had bit deepest. He didn't know what to do. Sarah had never been hurt like this. Sarah had never been hurt at all, until the end. You got a name? Cole asked. The girl said nothing. I'm Cole. This is my ranch. You're safe here. Still nothing? But her eyes stayed on him, calculating. I'm gonna get you some water. Don't... He stopped himself. Don't run, like she could, with feet like that. Just sit tight. He filled a glass at the sink, brought it back. She took it with both hands, drank too fast, choked. Water spilled down her chin. She set the glass down hard, gasping, eyes squeezed shut like she expected punishment for the mistake. Cole's chest went tight. You're okay. It's okay. Frank came back in. Maya's coming. 20 minutes. Good. She gonna have to report it, boss. State law. Kid shows up hurt. Doctor's gotta call it in. Oh, I know. So you got about 30 minutes before... I know, Frank. The old cowboy raised both hands, backed off. But he didn't leave. Just stood there by the door, witness to whatever Cole was deciding to do. Cole grabbed blankets from the hall closet, the wool ones, heavy and warm. He brought them to the girl, moved slow. When he tried to wrap one around her shoulders, she jerked back. Not gonna hurt you, Cole said. She watched his hands, every finger, every movement. He set the blanket down beside her instead. After a long moment, she picked it up herself, pulled it around her body. The shaking started to ease. Not much, but some. What's your name? Cole tried again. Emmy. Barely a whisper. Emmy. That's good. You got a last name? She shook her head. Where are you from? No answer. How long you been walking? Nothing. Cole sat down across from her, keeping the kitchen table between them. The oil lamp burned there, steady. Emmy's eyes went to it, stayed there. You hungry? Cole asked. No, sir. First time she'd used sir. Like armor, like she'd learned that word, kept men calm. Headlights cut across the windows again. Draw. Maya Santos pulled up in her Subaru, chains clanking on the gravel. She came in fast, medical bag already in hand, took one look at the situation and went straight to the girl. Mija, she said, kneeling. Let me see your feet. Emmy let her. Maya was good like that, steady, warm, the kind of woman who could gentle wild horses and men both. She examined the feet with quick, practiced hands. Frostbite, she said. Not too bad. Another hour and we'd be talking amputation. She looked at Cole. How long's she been out there? Don't know, just found her. Uh-huh. Maya pulled off Emmy's coat despite the girl's resistance. Saw the bruises. Her jaw tightened. How old are you, honey? 9, Emmy whispered. 9. Maya's voice went soft and dangerous both. She looked at Cole. Kitchen, now. They stepped away from Emmy, voices low. This child didn't run from a nice place, Maya said. I know. I have to report this. State law says, give me 3 days. Cole, 2 then, just 2 days before you call it in. Maya stared at him. They'd known each other 20 years. She'd been at Sarah's funeral, one of the few who stayed after. She knew what he'd lost, what he'd become. Why? She asked. Because if they take her tonight, she goes back to whoever did that. He nodded toward Emmy. 2 days. I can figure out where she came from. Make sure she don't go back there. And if you can't, then you call it in, and I live with it. Maya studied his face for a long time. Then, 2 days. After that, I'm calling child services whether you figured it out or not. Deal. She went back to Emmy, started treating the frostbite. Applied gel, wrapped the feet in soft gauze. Emmy sat perfectly still through all of it, like she'd learned not to complain about pain. You got somewhere she can sleep? Maya asked Cole. Guest room. I'll set it up. Do that. And Cole? Maya's eyes held his. Don't make me regret this. Frank had already gone upstairs. Cole found him pulling sheets onto the bed in the room next to Sarah's, the room they used to use for Sarah's friends at sleepovers. Back before. You know what you're doing? Frank asked. No. Good. Man who thinks he knows is usually wrong. They finished with the bed. Cole found clean towels, an old pair of Sarah's pajamas in a drawer he should have cleaned out years ago. When he came back downstairs, Emmy was still on the kitchen floor, wrapped in blankets. Maya was packing up her bag. Keep her warm, Maya said. Lots of water. Those feet are going to hurt like hell tomorrow when feeling comes back. She squeezed Cole's shoulder. I'll check on her in the morning. After she left, Frank headed for the door too, stopped in the frame. Boss, you ain't let anyone close in 6 years. I know. It's going to break you or fix you? Don't know that either. Frank nodded slow. Well now, guess we'll see. Then it was just Cole and the girl. Emmy was staring at the oil lamp again. Her eyes had gone distant, somewhere else. My sister had a lamp like that, she said suddenly. Cole went still. Your sister? Before. Emmy's voice was flat. She kept it by the bed. Case the dark got too bad. Where's your sister now? Emmy's face closed down. Gone. The word hung in the air like smoke. Cole sat down across from her again, the lamp between them. Both of them watching the flame now, the small circle of light in all that dark. Come on, he said finally. Let's get you upstairs. You gonna lock the door? No. Why not? 'Cause you're not a prisoner. Emmy looked at him like she didn't believe a word of it, but she stood anyway, holding the blanket. Let Cole show her up the stairs, down the hall. He pointed out the bathroom, showed her the bedroom. She stood in the doorway, wouldn't go in. What's wrong? Cole asked. Where do you sleep? Down the hall. How far? 30 feet. Why? She didn't answer. Just looked at the room, the bed, the window, calculating distances, exit routes. Emmy, Cole said, nobody's gonna hurt you here. That's what they all say. The words hit like a fist. Cole started to respond, stopped. What could he say? She was right. Every adult in her life had probably promised safety before proving otherwise. Yeah, he said instead. I guess it is. He left the pajamas on the bed, backed out, started to close the door. Mr. Cole? He stopped. Can you... Her voice went smaller. Can you keep the lamp on, downstairs? His throat went tight. Yeah, I'll keep it burning. All night? All night. Something in her face eased, not much, but enough that she stepped into the room. Cole went back downstairs, sat at the kitchen table. The oil lamp flickered in front of him. He'd kept it burning for Sarah every night since she died. Now a strange girl upstairs was asking him to do the same. Outside, the Montana winter pressed against the windows. Inside, the lamp burned steady. Cole put his head in his hands and tried to remember how to pray. By morning, Emmy had checked every window in the house twice, and Cole pretended not to notice. Cole woke at 5 like always, but this time, he didn't go check the fences. He sat in the kitchen instead, listening to the house. Upstairs, a floorboard creaked, then another. The guest room door opened slow, careful, footsteps in the hall. He stayed where he was, hands around his coffee mug. Emmy appeared at the bottom of the stairs, still wearing that oversized coat over Sarah's old pajamas. Her wrapped feet made soft sounds on the wood floor. She moved along the wall, checking the front window, then the side window. Then she circled back, found the window by the door, checked the lock, tested it. Cole took a sip of coffee, said nothing. She saw him watching, froze. "Morning," he said. Emmy's hand dropped from the window latch. "Morning, sir. You hungry?" She hesitated. "No, sir. When's the last time you ate?" No answer. Cole stood, moved to the stove. Emmy tracked him like prey tracks a predator, eyes following his hands, his center of gravity, calculating what he could do from each position. He'd seen wild animals do the same thing before you could gentle them. "Got soup," he said. "And bread. That work?" "I don't want to be trouble." "Already are. Might as well eat." And he heated Campbell's tomato soup in a pot, same way he'd been heating it for 6 years. Toast in the toaster. Put it on the table. Sat down across from her. She stood by the wall. "Come on," Cole said. "It's just breakfast." Emmy moved forward like she was approaching a trap. Sat down in the chair farthest from him, pulled the bowl close, started eating too fast. Cole watched her shovel soup, cramming toast in between bites. She ate like someone who'd learned food could disappear any second. Like someone who'd had meals taken away as punishment. She finished the bowl in under 2 minutes, then sat back. Her eyes went wide. She'd eaten too fast again, stomach probably cramping. But she didn't complain. Just went still, waiting. "You can have more," Cole said. "I'm good." "You sure? I got plenty." "Yes, sir." Cole drank his coffee. The oil lamp was still burning on the table between them, same as it had burned all night. Emmy kept glancing at it. "Told you I'd keep it on," Cole said. "I know. You sleep okay?" She shrugged, which meant no. Gravel crunched outside, Frank's truck pulling up. The old cowboy came through the door with a paper bag in his hands. Gave Cole a look that said they needed to talk, but later. "Morning, kid," Frank said to Emmy. She pulled the coat tighter. Frank set the bag on the table. "Got you some clothes." From the church donation pile, Mrs. Henderson at First Lutheran said, "Take whatever fits." Emmy stared at the bag like it might bite her. "I gotta pay you back?" she asked. Frank blinked. "What?" "For the clothes. How much do I owe?" "Nothing. They're free." "Nothing's free." The way she said it, flat, factual, made Cole's chest go tight. He'd heard that tone before, in his own voice. The sound of someone who'd learned the world kept ledgers, and the bill always came due. "These are," Frank said gently, "from the church. They give 'em out." Emmy looked at Cole for confirmation. He nodded. "Try 'em on," Frank said. "See what fits." She took the bag, held it close. "Thank you, sir." "Just Frank. Don't need the sir." She nodded, but Cole knew she'd keep using it anyway. Sir was armor. Sir kept grown men from getting angry. Frank jerked his head toward the door. "Come outside." Cole followed him onto the porch. "How's she doing?" Frank asked, voice low. "Scared. Doesn't trust anything." "Can you blame her?" "No." Frank leaned against the porch rail, looked out at the gray Montana morning, snow everywhere, sky the color of old steel. "You got a plan here, boss?" "Not yet. Maya said 2 days. And I know. That's today and tomorrow. Then she calls it in." "I know, Frank." "Oh, and so what you gonna do, keep her? You ain't exactly set up for a kid." Cole watched his breath fog in the cold. "I don't know what I'm doing. I just know I can't send her back to wherever she came from." "What if they come looking for her?" "Then I'll deal with it." Frank was quiet a long moment. Then, "You sure this ain't about Sarah?" Cole's jaw tightened. "It's not. Boss, it's not." But they both knew he was lying. Frank sighed, pushed off the rail. "All right, your call. But that little girl in there, she's already planning her exit. Saw her checking windows. She don't trust you yet." "I know. So how you gonna make her stay?" Cole looked back through the window. Emmy was still sitting at the table, the bag of clothes unopened in her lap. Just sitting, like she was waiting for permission to exist. "I don't know," Cole said again, "but I got 2 days to figure it out." Inside, Emmy had opened the bag. She pulled out jeans, a sweater, socks, held them up like she was checking for hidden costs. "Go on," Cole said when he came back in. "Try 'em on. Bathroom's upstairs if you want privacy." She took the clothes and disappeared. Came back 10 minutes later wearing jeans that were a little big, a Montana State sweatshirt, thick socks over her bandaged feet. She'd left the coat upstairs. First time Cole had seen her without it. She was smaller than he'd thought, thinner. The kind of thin that came from missing meals on purpose, and missing meals because there weren't any. "Fit okay?" he asked. "Yes, sir." Frank had started coffee, was leaning against the counter. Kid, you keep saying sir like that. You're gonna make us feel old. Emmy almost smiled. Almost. Cole showed her the rest of the house, the living room she'd walked through last night, the den, the downstairs bathroom. He skipped Sarah's room, kept that door shut. Emmy noticed, but didn't ask. In the living room, she stopped, stared at the TV like she'd found buried treasure. That work? She asked. Yeah, you want to watch something? She nodded, still staring. Cole found the remote, turned it on. Saturday morning cartoons were playing, Bugs Bunny reruns, the old ones from when Cole was a kid. He left it there, started to walk away. Then Emmy laughed. Just a small sound, quick, like she'd surprised herself. On screen, Bugs was tricking Elmer Fudd with a fake rabbit hole. Emmy's hand went to her mouth, covering the laugh, but it came anyway. Cole stopped in the doorway, stood there watching her watch the TV. She was leaning forward, focused, and for just a second she looked like what she was, a 9-year-old kid watching cartoons on a Saturday morning, not a fugitive, not a victim, just a kid. He couldn't remember the last time he'd heard a child laugh in this house. 6 years. 6 years since Sarah. Emmy glanced back, caught him watching. The smile dropped. She sat back, pulled her knees up, went small again. It's okay, Cole said. You can watch. And he left her there, went to find something to do with his hands before he fell apart. By afternoon, Frank had Emmy outside. Cole watched from the kitchen window as the old cowboy showed her how to feed the chickens. She moved, careful, gentle, scattering grain like it was something precious. The hens came close, and she didn't flinch, just stood there, still, letting them peck around her feet. Kids got good instincts, Frank said when they came back in. Cole nodded. She tell you where she's from yet? No? You gonna ask? When she's ready. Frank studied him. Boss, you know she can't stay forever. I know. So what's the end game here? Cole didn't have an answer. Evening came cold and dark. Cole made dinner, more soup, sandwiches, and the three of them sat at the table. Emmy ate slower this time, like she was testing whether the food would still be there if she paced herself. So, Frank said, trying to fill the silence, you got a favorite subject in school? Emmy stopped chewing. Or maybe you ain't in school right now, Frank added quickly. I don't go to school, Emmy said. How come? She looked at Cole, then back at Frank. They said I was too much trouble. It's the way she said it, matter of fact, like it was truth she'd accepted. Made Cole want to find whoever told her that and break something. Well, Frank said, their loss. Emmy shrugged, kept eating. The silence stretched. Cole tried to think of something to say, came up empty. He'd forgotten how to do this, how to talk to a kid, how to make someone feel welcome instead of trapped. Emmy set down her sandwich. Mr. Cole? Yeah? You got kids? The question hit like a bullet. Cole's hand tightened on his coffee mug. Frank went very still. I did, Cole said finally. A daughter. Where is she? The room went silent. Even the old house seemed to hold its breath. She died, Cole said. 6 years ago. Emmy watched his face. That's why you're sad. I'm not. He stopped. Realized there was no point lying to a kid who'd probably survived on reading faces. Yeah, I guess it is. What was her name? Sarah. Emmy nodded slowly, like she was filing the information away. My sister died too. Cole's throat went tight. I'm sorry. Me too. They ate the rest of the meal in silence. But it was a different kind of silence now, shared, somehow. Cole woke at 2 a.m. to footsteps downstairs. He found Emmy in the kitchen, sitting at the table. The oil lamp burned in front of her. She was just staring at it, small hands wrapped around herself. Can't sleep? Cole asked. She shook her head. He sat down across from her. The lamp flickered between them, same as last night. Same as every night, for 6 years. You keep that on all night, Emmy said, not a question. Yeah. Why? Cole looked at the flame. My daughter was afraid of the dark. After she died, I started keeping it on, in case. He trailed off. In case what? In case her ghost came home? In case keeping one light burning could make up for all the times he wasn't there? In case she comes back, Emmy finished quietly. Something like that. Emmy was quiet a long moment. Then, I used to have to light candles. At the place, the foster house. Why? When he got mad, he'd take the lights. All of them. Lock me in the dark. Her voice stayed flat, reporting facts. Said it would teach me respect. Cole's hands curled into fists under the table. So I stole candles from church, Emmy went on. Hid them? He didn't know. At night, after he locked the door, I'd light one, just so I could see. How long were you there? 3 months, before I ran. Where'd you run from? Billings was 100 miles. She'd walked 100 miles in winter with no shoes. That's why I knocked on your door, Emmy said, still watching the lamp. I saw the light. Thought maybe... She stopped. Thought maybe what? Thought maybe someone who kept a light on might not be so bad. Cole felt something crack open in his chest. Some wall he'd built 6 years ago. Go on to bed, he said, voice rough. I'll keep it burning. All night? All night. Promise. Emmy stood, hesitated. Mr. Cole? Yeah? Thank you for the light. She went upstairs. Cole stayed at the table, staring at the flame. He'd kept this lamp burning for Sarah every night since she died. A vigil for a ghost. Now a living girl upstairs was asking him to do the same. He didn't know what that meant, but he knew he wasn't going to stop. 3 days in, Emmy asked the question Cole had been avoiding since 1983. What happened to your little girl? The power went out on day 4. Cole was in the barn checking cattle when the lights died across the ranch. Late afternoon, sky gone the color of old iron, temperature dropping fast. A real storm rolling in from the north, the kind that buried Montana for days. He finished in the barn, came back to the house through snow that was already ankle deep. Inside, the silence felt wrong. No hum of refrigerator, no furnace clicking on. Just quiet and the gray light failing through windows. Emmy? No answer. His chest went tight. She'd been in the living room last he checked, reading one of Sarah's old books. He moved through the house, calling her name. Found her in the upstairs closet. She'd wedged herself into the corner behind old coats, knees pulled up, hands over her ears, shaking. Her eyes were open, but she wasn't seeing the closet. She was somewhere else, somewhere dark. Emmy. Cole kept his voice low, non-threatening. Hey, you're okay. She didn't respond, just kept shaking. He crouched down, didn't reach for her. It's just the power. Storm knocked it out, that's all. Her breathing was too fast. Panic breathing. Cole thought fast. The generator was in the barn. He could get it running in 10 minutes. But she needed something now. He left her there, hated doing it, but had no choice, and went downstairs. Grabbed the oil lamp from the kitchen table, found matches, got it burning, brought it back upstairs. The closet was still dark, but when he held the lamp out, Emmy's eyes fixed on the flame. Her breathing started to slow. Not much, but enough. See? Cole said. Got light right here. He set the lamp on the floor between them, sat down, gave her space. They stayed like that. Him in the hallway, her in the closet, the lamp between them casting small shadows on the walls. After 5 minutes, Emmy spoke. I'm sorry. For what? Being scared. Of the dark. Nothing wrong with being scared. He said it was weak. Said I needed to get over it. Cole's jaw tightened. He was wrong. Emmy crawled forward slowly, out of the closet. She sat cross-legged in front of the lamp, close enough that the light touched her face. Her hands were still shaking. You want to tell me about it? Cole asked. She shook her head. Okay. They sat in silence. Outside, wind hit the house hard, rattling windows. Emmy flinched, but kept her eyes on the flame. When I was at the place, she said finally, voice barely above a whisper. The Foster house. When he got really mad, he'd take all the lights, every bulb, lock me in my room. Cole waited, didn't push. It was so dark, like being blind, I couldn't see my own hands. She pulled the sweater sleeves down over her fingers. He'd leave me there, sometimes for a whole day. Jesus, Emmy. That's when I started stealing candles. From church, when the foster mom took me on Sundays, she didn't notice. I'd hide them in my sock, bring them back. Light them at night, after he locked the door. How long did this go on? 3 months, until I ran. Cole felt something hot and dangerous move through his chest, the kind of anger that made men do stupid things. But he kept his voice level. You were smart. Stealing those candles. I was scared. Doesn't make you less smart. Emmy looked at him then, really looked. Like she was trying to figure out if he meant it. This lamp, Cole said, nodding at it. It was my daughter's, Sarah's. She was afraid of the dark too. That's why you keep it on. Yeah. Does it help? Cole considered lying, decided against it. No, but I keep doing it anyway. Emmy reached out, touched the brass base of the lamp. Her fingers traced the dented metal, the worn handle. Can I... She stopped. Can you what? Can I keep it? In my room, just for a little while. Something in Cole's chest cracked, clean through. That lamp had been Sarah's. He'd kept it burning every night for 6 years. His vigil, his punishment, his only way to say sorry to a ghost. And now this girl, this living, breathing, terrified girl, was asking for it. Yeah, he heard himself say. You can keep it. Really? It's yours if you want it, but it's Sarah's. She'd want you to have it. He didn't know if that was true, but it felt true. You can keep it in your room, long as you need. Emmy's eyes went bright with something. Gratitude, relief, disbelief. All three, maybe. She picked up the lamp carefully, held it like something precious. Thank you, Mr. Cole. Just Cole. You don't need the master. Thank you, Cole. It was the first time she'd said his name without the armor of formality. The generator got the heat and lights back on by evening, but Emmy kept the oil lamp in her room anyway. Cole could see it burning through the crack under her door when he went to bed that night. He lay in his own room, staring at the ceiling, trying to figure out what the hell he was doing. Tomorrow was day 5. Maya's deadline had already passed. She'd given him 2 days, and now it was 4. She'd be calling child services any minute if she hadn't already. And even if she hadn't, what was his plan? Keep this kid forever? He wasn't set up for that. Wasn't qualified. Wasn't mentally stable enough to parent a goldfish, let alone a traumatized child. But every time he thought about calling the sheriff himself, turning Emmy over to the system that would put her back in a place like the one she'd run from, he couldn't do it. Downstairs, the phone rang. Cole got up, went down, picked it up on the 4th ring. Coleman. Cole, it's Maya. His stomach dropped. I know, he said. I know it's been more than 2 days. 4 days, Maya said. I should have called this in on day 3. I know. So why didn't I? Cole gripped the phone, waited. Because I did some checking, Maya said. Made some calls. That foster home in Billings. State's already investigating it. 3 other kids have run from there in 6 months. 1 ended up in the hospital. Christ. Yeah. So here's what's going to happen. I'm calling it in tomorrow morning. Have to. But I'm calling Pastor Holm first. He's going to vouch for you. Say the church will sponsor an emergency foster license application. Maya. It won't be fast, she cut him off. Could take weeks, maybe months. And there's no guarantee they'll approve you, but it buys you time. Why are you doing this? She was quiet a moment. Because I saw your face when you looked at her, Cole. First time I've seen you look alive in 6 years, and because that little girl deserves better than the system's given her so far. Cole's throat went tight. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This is going to get complicated. Sheriff's going to have questions. State's going to have more. And Cole? Yeah? If you're doing this, you're all in. No backing out halfway. She's already lost enough. Don't let her lose you too. I won't. Good. I'll call you tomorrow after I talk to Holm. She hung up. Cole stood there in the dark kitchen, phone still in his hand. Upstairs, Emmy's lamp was burning. His vigil had moved. Was that good? Was that healing? Or was he just using one child to fix what he'd broken with another? He didn't know, but he was in it now, all the way in. Morning came gray and heavy. Snow had fallen all night, 3 feet, maybe 4. The world outside was white and silent. Emmy came downstairs carrying the lamp, set it on the kitchen table, like she was returning something borrowed. You can keep it in your room, Cole said. I know. Just thought. She trailed off. Thought maybe you'd want it down here during the day. She was trying to share it. The realization hit him sideways. We can both use it, he said. She nodded, sat down. Cole made oatmeal, the real kind that took time. They ate in comfortable silence, the storm beating against the windows. Cole? Emmy's voice was careful. What happened to your little girl? To Sarah? He set down his spoon. Knew this was coming. Drunk driver. Hit her car coming home from a school play. Where were you? The question every person had asked. The question he'd asked himself 10,000 times. Working. Closing a land deal in Helena. She'd asked me to come to the play. I said I couldn't. He stared at his coffee. Told her I had something important. She was 8. It wasn't your fault. I chose work over her. Every time. Built this whole empire. Bought all this land. Made all this money. And for what? His voice went rough. So I could have a big empty house to rattle around in alone. Emmy was quiet a long moment. My sister asked me to stay in the room with her the night it happened. I said no. Said I was tired. Cole looked up. He came in after I left, Emmy whispered. If I'd stayed? Emmy, no. That's not... I know. Everyone says it's not my fault. But I still think it. Every day. And they sat with that. 2 people carrying guilt for things they couldn't control. Your sister, Cole said gently. How old was she? 7. Her name was Rose. That's a good name. Yeah. Emmy's eyes were far away. She loved roses. Real ones. The pink kind. Outside, the storm eased slightly. Cole stood. Come on. We got work to do. They shoveled together. Or tried to. Emmy's feet were still healing, but she insisted on helping. Cole gave her the light snow by the porch. He took the heavy drifts by the barn. She worked slow, careful, stopping every few minutes to rest. But she worked. And when she got a shovelful just right, sent it flying in a perfect arc, she looked back at him with something like pride. Good, Cole said. I can do more. Take a break, kid. I can... A chunk of snow fell from the roof, landed on Cole's head. He stumbled, cursing. Emmy laughed. Not a small laugh this time. A real one. Full and bright and completely unguarded. Cole wiped snow from his face, looked at her. She'd clamped her hand over her mouth, but the laugh kept coming, her whole body shaking with it. And despite everything, the fear, the uncertainty, the shitstorm coming his way, Cole smiled. Yeah, he said. Real funny. Emmy's laugh faded to giggles. Sorry, it's just your face. My face is cold, that's what it is. They finished shoveling, went inside. Cole made hot chocolate, first time in 6 years, and they sat at the table warming their hands on the mugs. That's when the phone rang. Cole's gut tightened. He picked up. Coleman. Cole, it's Tom Bridger. The sheriff. Cole's jaw clenched. Tom, we need to talk. About what? About the girl you didn't report? Emmy's head snapped up. She'd heard. Or maybe she'd just read his face. Who says I got a girl here? Cole tried. Cole, don't bullshit me. Maya called it in this morning. She had to. And now I gotta do my job. Your job. State says she goes back to the foster system. I'm coming out there tomorrow to pick her up. The hell you are. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. That foster home in Billings, they're under investigation. 3 kids ran from there. You gonna send her back to that? I'm gonna send her back to the state. They'll find her proper placement. Proper placement. Cole's voice went hard. How many proper placements she been through already? Tom? How many times she gotta run before someone listens? That's not my call. Law says, fuck the law. Silence on the other end. Then, I'll be there tomorrow at noon. Have her ready. The line went dead. Cole stood there, phone in his hand. Emmy was watching him, her face going pale. They're coming for me, she said quietly. No. You can't stop them. They always win. Cole set down the phone, crossed to the table, knelt down so he was at her level. Listen to me, he said. You hear me? She nodded, eyes going bright. No one touches you again. They will. The sheriff, I don't care. You knocked on my door. You're under my roof. And no one... His voice went fierce, protective, the kind of fierce he hadn't felt in 6 years. No one is taking you back to a place that hurts you. But the law, then we'll fight the law. Emmy stared at him. You can't win. Maybe not, but I'm going to try anyway. She searched his face, looking for the lie, looking for the moment he'd back down like every other adult in her life probably had. Cole held her gaze. Every time they come, I'll fight. Every time they try to take you, I'll stand in the way. Until they arrest me or kill me or I figure out how to keep you safe. You understand? Emmy's chin trembled. Why? Because you're a kid, and you deserve better than what you got. She threw her arms around him. Sudden, fierce, the first real hug she'd given anyone in God knows how long. Cole froze, then carefully, slowly, put his arms around her small frame. She was crying into his shoulder, not loud, just quiet, shaking tears. I got you, Cole said. I got you. Outside, the storm was ending. Tomorrow the sheriff would come. But tonight, Emmy had the lamp burning in her room, and Cole had a promise to keep. Emmy found the locked room open, and inside, a shrine to the girl Cole couldn't save. Sheriff Tom Bridger pulled up at 11 the next morning, an hour early. Cole saw the county bronco coming up the drive, felt his stomach drop. He stepped onto the porch, pulling the door shut behind him. Keeping Bridger outside, keeping Emmy safe inside for as long as he could. The sheriff got out slow, hat in hand. They'd known each other 20 years. Tom had been at Sarah's funeral, had brought casseroles for weeks after, the way people do when they don't know what else to offer a broken man. Cole. Tom. They stood 10 feet apart, breath fogging in the cold. Don't make me do this, Bridger said. Then don't. State says she goes back. I got a court order here. He pulled papers from his jacket. Temporary custody, 2 child services, pending investigation and placement. That place in Billings is under investigation. You know that. Which is why she's not going back there. She's going to a transition house in Bozeman until they find proper foster care. How many transition houses she been through, Tom? That's not the point. It's exactly the point. Cole's voice stayed level, but his hands were fists. That kid walked 100 miles barefoot in January. You think she did that on a whim? I think she's a traumatized child who needs professional care. Not... Bridger stopped himself. Not what? Say it. Not a grieving father using her to fix what he lost. The words hit like a punch. Cole's jaw clenched. Get off my property. De Cole, you want her. You come back with more than a piece of paper. Bring backup. Bring the judge. Bring whoever you need, but you're not taking her today. I can arrest you for obstruction. Then do it. They stared at each other. Old friends on opposite sides of a line neither wanted to be on. I'll be back, Bridger said finally. Tomorrow, with backup if I have to. Don't make this worse. He got in the Bronco, drove away. Cole stood on the porch, shaking, not from cold. From the reality settling in, he'd just defied a court order. Tomorrow wouldn't be a conversation. It would be police, social workers, the full weight of the system coming down. He turned to go inside. That's when he noticed the window. The curtain moved. Emmy had been watching. Inside, the house was too quiet. Emmy? No answer. Cole moved through the rooms. Kitchen empty. Living room empty. He took the stairs 2 at a time. Her bedroom door was open. The bed was made. She'd made it that morning, careful and neat, like someone who'd learned that unmade beds meant punishment, but she wasn't there. The lamp was gone from her nightstand. Cole's chest tightened. He checked the bathroom, the closet. Called her name again, then he saw it. Sarah's door, open. He'd kept that room locked for 6 years. But this morning, in his panic about Bridger coming, he must have forgotten, must have left the key in the lock. Cole walked down the hall, stood in the doorway. The room was exactly as Sarah had left it. Posters of horses on the walls, stuffed animals on the bed, her books on the shelf, organized by color like she'd liked them, clothes still in the closet, her backpack hanging on the chair. A shrine, that's what it was. A museum to a dead girl. And Emmy had seen it. On the dresser, a framed photo, Sarah at 8, smiling, gap-toothed, holding a ribbon from the county fair. Same age as Emmy, same dark hair, same small frame. Cole's stomach turned over. Emmy must have stood here, seen this photo, seen the room frozen in time, and understood. He wasn't keeping her because she was Emmy, he was keeping her because she looked like Sarah. No, Cole said out loud. No, that's not... But it was too late for explanations. Emmy was gone. He found her coat missing. The back door unlocked. Footprints in the snow leading toward the road. She'd taken the lamp. Cole grabbed his coat, ran. Emmy! The footprints were small, erratic. She was running, but her feet were still healing. She wouldn't get far, but far enough to freeze, far enough to die. Frank came out of the barn, saw Cole running. What happened? She ran. Call Maya. Tell her to come now. He didn't wait for a response, just followed the tracks. A quarter mile, half mile. The tracks stumbled, weaved. She was slowing down. 1 mile. The snow was coming harder now, wind picking up, another storm rolling in. 2 miles from the house, he found her. Emmy was collapsed in the snow beside the highway, curled on her side. The lamp lay a few feet away, glass cracked but still burning somehow. Impossible, but burning. Emmy. Cole dropped to his knees beside her. Jesus, kid. She scrambled back away from him. Her lips were blue. She was shaking hard enough to hurt herself. Don't, her voice cracked. Don't touch me. You're freezing. We gotta get you back. No. She tried to stand, fell. You're sending me back. I'm not. I heard you. The sheriff. You're giving up. Emmy, that's not what happened. You just want her. Tears were streaming down her face. I saw the room. I saw her picture. I look like her, and that's the only reason. No. I'm not her. As Emmy screamed it, raw and desperate. I can't be her. I don't know how. Cole felt something break in his chest. I know you're not Sarah. Then why do you keep her room like that? Why do you look at me like you're seeing someone else? Because I'm an idiot. His voice went rough. Because I'm a broken down, fucked up old man who doesn't know how to live anymore. But, Emmy... He moved closer, slow. I don't want you to be her. I want you to be you. You're lying. I'm not. You knocked on my door. Not Sarah. You. And I couldn't let you freeze. You couldn't let her die again, you mean? The words hit center mass. Cole sat back in the snow. Maybe, he said quietly. Maybe that's part of it. I don't know, but that's not all of it. And then what? You remind me I'm still alive. That maybe I can still do something right. Maybe I can keep one promise after breaking all the others. Emmy was shaking. From cold or emotion, he couldn't tell. You're gonna lose. They always win. Maybe. But I'm gonna try anyway. Why? Because you walked 100 miles barefoot in January. Because you're 90 years old and you're braver than any man I've ever known. Because you deserve someone to fight for you, even if it's a washed-up rancher with nothing left to lose. Emmy stared at him, searching for the lie, finding something else instead. I took your lamp, she whispered. I know. I was gonna keep it, so you'd remember me. Cole's throat closed up. Kid, I couldn't forget you if I tried. The wind picked up. The storm was coming. We gotta go, Cole said. You can hate me all you want, but we got to get you warm. Emmy didn't move. Then, small. Every time? What? You said you'd fight every time. You meant it? Every time. She looked at the lamp, still burning in the snow, then back at Cole. Okay, she said. He picked her up. She didn't fight it, just curled against his chest, shaking. He grabbed the lamp, started the long walk back. Behind them, the highway disappeared in white. Ahead, the ranch lights burned steady. Maya was waiting when they got back. She took one look at Emmy and went into doctor mode. Got her inside, wrapped in blankets, checked her temperature. Mild hypothermia. Could have been worse. Cole stood in the kitchen, wet and cold, watching Maya work. What happened? Maya asked. She ran. Saw Sarah's room. Thought... He stopped. Thought I was using her as a replacement. Maya gave him a look. Were you? I don't know. Maybe. Cole. I know. He ran his hand through his wet hair. I know. Maya finished with Emmy, packed her bag, pulled Cole aside. Sheriff's coming back tomorrow, she said. With backup. You bought yourself one more day, maybe. After that, I know. What are you gonna do? Cole looked at Emmy, small and pale in the chair, wrapped in blankets. The lamp sat on the table between them, cracked but still burning. I don't know, he said. But I'll think of something. Maya squeezed his shoulder. I hope so, for both your sakes. After she left, Cole sat down across from Emmy. Neither of them spoke for a long time. Finally, Emmy said, I'm sorry for running. I'm sorry for the room. Should have dealt with that years ago. You loved her. I did. Do you... She stopped, started again. Do you think you could ever not love her, but maybe care about someone else? Cole looked at this small, fierce, broken girl who'd walked 100 miles to his door. Yeah, he said. I think maybe I already do. Emmy nodded, picked up the lamp. The glass cracked. We'll fix it. How? I don't know yet, but we'll figure it out. Outside, the storm settled in. Inside, the lamp kept burning, cracked but steady. Tomorrow, the sheriff would come. But tonight, they had this moment, and sometimes that had to be enough. The state came for Emmy on a Tuesday. The same day, Cole finally opened Sarah's room and started packing it away. Cole woke before dawn on day 9, couldn't sleep. Tomorrow, the sheriff would come with backup, social workers, the full machinery of the state. But today, he had something else to do. He stood outside Sarah's door for 10 minutes before he could turn the handle. The room still smelled like her, 6 years, and it still smelled like strawberry shampoo and the lavender sachets her grandmother had given her. He'd kept the door shut so tight that even time couldn't get in. But Emmy had gotten in and seen what Cole had been too afraid to see. He'd built a museum to his guilt. Frank found him there an hour later, holding one of Sarah's stuffed bears. Boss, Frank said quietly. You okay? No. Cole set the bear down. But I'm doing it anyway. They packed together. Frank didn't ask questions, just brought boxes from the barn. They worked in silence, taking down posters, folding clothes, wrapping picture frames. Cole found Sarah's diary in her nightstand. Small, pink, with a lock he'd never tried to open. He sat on the bed, turned to the last entry, April 15th, 1983. Tomorrow is my play. I'm playing Dorothy. I'm so nervous. I asked Daddy to come, but he said he has a big meeting in Helena. He promised he'd try to make it back in time. He always promises, but he never comes. I know his work is important. Mom says he's building an empire for us, but I just want him to see me in my costume. Is that selfish? I love him. I know he loves me. I just wish he could show it. I hope he comes tomorrow. Even if he's late, I'll watch the door the whole time. The last line was underlined 3 times. Cole's hands shook. He closed the diary, pressed it against his chest. What's it say? Frank asked. That I was a shitty father. Boss, I chose money over her, Frank. Every time. Every recital, every game, every play, always had a deal closing, always had somewhere more important to be. His voice cracked. She died thinking I didn't care enough to show up. You were providing. I was hiding. Cole looked at the room, the expensive toys, the nice furniture, everything money could buy. Built her this perfect room, bought her everything she wanted, except what she needed. Which was what? Me. Just me. Frank sat down on the bed beside him. You can't change it. I know. But you can change what happens next. Cole looked at the diary, at Sarah's handwriting, careful and hopeful, waiting for a father who never came. Emmy's not a second chance, Frank said. She's a different chance. You understand? Yeah. And Cole set the diary in a box, gentle. Yeah, I do. Emmy came downstairs mid-morning, found them packing. She stopped in the hallway, stared. What are you doing? Cleaning out the room, Cole said. Should have done it years ago. She watched them work, After a minute, she stepped inside, picked up a small snow globe, a horse inside, glitter swirling when you shook it. "Can I keep this?" Emmy asked. "To remember her?" Cole's throat went tight. "Yeah, you can keep it." Emmy shook the globe, watched the glitter fall. "She would have been nice, if she was still here, and she would have liked you." "How do you know?" "Because you're brave. And she always wanted to be brave." Emmy set the globe down carefully. "I'm not brave. I'm just scared all the time." "That's what brave is. Being scared and doing it anyway." They finished packing by noon, boxes stacked in the hallway, the room empty except for the furniture. It looked smaller now, like a regular room, instead of a shrine. Cole stood in the doorway, taking it in, saying goodbye. "You okay?" Emmy asked. "Getting there." Pastor Holm came by that afternoon, brought papers, the emergency foster license application. Cole sat at the kitchen table, staring at the forms. "It's not guaranteed," Holm said. "Could take months, and you'll need references. Background check, home inspection." "I know. The sheriff's coming tomorrow?" "That's what he said." "Then we file this today. I'll hand deliver it to the county office. Won't stop them from taking her tomorrow, but it starts the clock. Shows you're trying to do this right." Cole signed the forms. His signature looked shakier than it should. "Cole," Holmes said, "why are you doing this?" "Because she needs someone." "That's not enough. Not for what this is going to cost you. The town's already talking. Half think you're a saint, half think you've lost your mind." Cole looked at Emmy, sitting in the living room with the snow globe. She walked 100 miles barefoot to find someone who'd leave a light on. "I can't be the one who turns it off." Holm nodded slowly. "All right then, I'll file these. But Cole, prepare yourself. The system doesn't like to lose." After he left, the house felt too quiet, like it was holding its breath. Dinner was tense, none of them ate much. The knowledge of tomorrow sat at the table with them like a fourth person. "What time are they coming?" Emmy asked. "Don't know. Morning, probably." What should I bring?" The question broke him. She was already planning, already accepting she'd be leaving. "You're not going anywhere," Cole said. "Cole, no. I made you a promise. No one touches you again. I meant it. But the sheriff—" "Let me worry about the sheriff." Emmy pushed food around her plate. "What if they arrest you?" "Then they arrest me." "What if they say you kidnapped me?" "Did I?" She looked at him. "No, I picked you." "Then that's what we tell them." Frank cleared his throat. "Boss, we should talk about tomorrow. Have a plan." "What kind of plan?" "The legal kind. Maya's coming first thing, gonna be here as medical witness. Pastor Holmes coming to speak on your behalf. I'll be here too. Tom's bringing backup," Cole said. "Social workers. Maybe a judge if they pushed hard enough." "Then we make them work for it. Make them explain why they're taking a child from a safe place and putting her back in the system that failed her." Emmy's eyes were bright. "They won't listen. They never listen to kids." Then you make them," Frank said. "You tell them what that place did to you, every detail. Make them see you." "I can't." "You can," Cole said. "You're the bravest person I know." She shook her head, but didn't argue. That night, Emmy couldn't sleep. Cole found her at the kitchen table at midnight, the lamp burning in front of her. He sat down across from her, their usual spots. "You scared?" he asked. "Yeah, me too." "Oh, really?" "Terrified." Emmy traced the crack in the lamp's glass. "What if tomorrow's the last time?" "Then we make tonight count." "How?" Cole thought about it. "Tell me about Rose. Your sister." Emmy's hand stilled. "Why?" "Because I told you about Sarah. Fair's fair." She was quiet a long time. Then, "Rose was 7. She liked to draw, horses mostly, and flowers." "Pink roses?" "Yeah, how'd you know?" "You told me once that she loved pink roses." Emmy nodded. "She drew them everywhere. On paper, on walls when no one was looking, in the dirt with sticks." "She sounds like she was something." "She was." Emmy's voice went small. "The night she died, she asked me to stay with her. In the room. She said she had a bad feeling." Cole waited. "I said no. I was tired. And I was mad because she'd gotten me in trouble earlier. She'd drawn on the kitchen wall, and I got blamed for it, so I went to my room instead." Tears started rolling down her face. "He came in after midnight, the foster dad. I heard her crying, but I thought she was just having a nightmare. I almost went in. Almost. Emmy, by the time I realized it was too late. He was hurting her. And when I tried to stop him, he threw me against the wall, told me next time it'd be me. Sure." She was sobbing now. She died 3 days later. Hospital said it was internal bleeding, but I know. I know it was my fault for not staying. Cole came around the table, knelt beside her. That was not your fault. You were a child. I should have stayed. You couldn't have known. You couldn't have stopped him. I could have tried. And he would have killed you too. Cole took her hands. Emmy, listen to me. What happened to Rose? That was him, the foster father. Not you. Never you. But I left her alone. So did I. With Sarah. I left her alone 100 times. 1,000 times. And I can't take it back. His voice broke. But you know what I learned? You can't pay back the debt. To the people you lost. You can only pay it forward. Emmy looked at him through tears. What's that mean? Means maybe Sarah sent you, so I could finally show up for someone. And maybe Rose. Maybe she'd want you to live. Not spend the rest of your life carrying her ghost. I don't know how. Neither do I, but we'll figure it out together. Emmy threw her arms around him, sobbing into his shoulder. Cole held her, this small broken girl who'd lost everything and still kept walking. I don't want to go, she whispered. I know. I want to stay here, with you and Frank and the lamp and… I know, kid, I know. As they sat there on the kitchen floor, holding each other, while the lamp burned between them and the Montana night pressed close. Tomorrow, the state would come. Tomorrow they'd lose. But tonight, they had each other. And sometimes that had to be enough. Cole spent 3 days on the back 40, where the cell phone didn't reach and God didn't answer, then came home knowing exactly what he'd lose. Cole left before dawn, told Frank to watch Emmy, told them he'd be back by evening, then saddled his horse and rode to the back 40, the remote northwest corner of his ranch where the land dropped into Iron Creek Canyon. It was the place he went to be alone with his failures. March now. Early thaw starting. Snow melting in patches, creek running high and fast below. The sky was gray, heavy with clouds that hadn't decided whether to be rain or snow. Cole set up his tent, built a fire, sat looking out at the canyon. He'd come here after Sarah died. Spent 3 weeks up here. Frank bringing supplies every few days, saying nothing. Just leaving food and riding away, giving Cole space to fall apart where no one could see. Now he was here again. Different reason. Same feeling of standing at the edge of something he couldn't come back from. By midday, the questions were circling like ravens. What the hell was he doing? He was 47 years old, single, no experience raising kids since Sarah died. His own daughter had died, thinking he didn't care enough to show up. And now he was trying to adopt a traumatized 9-year-old with no legal standing, no license, no plan except sheer stubborn refusal to let the state take her? He'd lose. Obviously he'd lose. The sheriff would come. Cole would resist. They'd arrest him for obstruction, maybe worse. Emmy would go back into the system. And then what? She'd run again. End up dead in the snow somewhere. Or worse, end up in another house like the one she'd run from. Either way, Cole would have failed her just like he'd failed Sarah. So what was the point? He should just call Tom Bridger right now. Tell him he'd have Emmy ready tomorrow morning. Make it easy. Let the state do its job. Trust the system to eventually get it right. That was the smart move, the reasonable move. Cole stared at the fire. Didn't reach for his phone. Afternoon, the memories came. Sarah at 5, asking him to push her on the swing. He'd said, in a minute, honey, and that minute had turned into an hour while he took a call about mineral rights. Sarah, at 6, showing him a drawing she'd made of their family. She'd drawn herself small, in the corner, like she was an afterthought. Sarah, at 7, asking why Daddy worked all the time. He'd explained about building security, about making sure they had everything they needed. She'd said, but I just need you. He'd patted her head, gone back to his office. Sarah, at 8, begging him to come to her play. He'd looked at his calendar, seen the Helena meeting, biggest land deal of his career. Enough money to set them up for life. He'd chosen the money. The call had come at 10 p.m. Sarah's car hit by a drunk driver on Route 89, dead before the ambulance arrived. He'd made it back in time to identify the body, just not in time to see her in her Dorothy costume. Evening came cold. Cole fed the fire, wrapped in his coat. Frank had asked him once why he kept working after Sarah died, why he kept buying land, closing deals, building an empire he didn't need. Cole hadn't had an answer then. He did now. He kept working because working meant he didn't have to feel. Numbers made sense. Land didn't ask questions. Money didn't judge. But Emmy had asked questions, had looked at him and seen straight through to the rod underneath. And somehow, instead of running, she'd stayed. Until she couldn't anymore. Until he'd failed her too. Night fell. The fire burned low. Cole thought about the lamp. About how he'd kept it burning for 6 years. A vigil for a ghost. About how Emmy had asked for it and he'd given it to her without hesitation. About how she'd stolen it when she ran. Because she thought that lamp was the only thing he'd miss. About how it had cracked but kept burning anyway. Broken things could still give light. Maybe broken people could too. The question crystallized around midnight. Not, can you save someone else's child when you failed your own? But, Are you going to keep failing, or are you finally going to show up? Cole stood, walked to the edge of the canyon, looked down at the darkness, the sound of water rushing below. He could keep doing what he'd always done, hiding behind work, behind money, behind walls, safe and alone, and slowly dying inside. Or he could fight. Would he win? Probably not. The state had lawyers, judges, laws on their side. Cole had nothing but a broken lamp and a promise he might not be able to keep. But the promise mattered, not because it would work, because it was the right thing to do. Sarah hadn't needed an empire. She'd needed a father who showed up. Emmy didn't need perfection. She needed someone who wouldn't quit. Okay, Cole said to the darkness. Okay. He rode back at dawn, March sun breaking through clouds. Frank was on the porch, coffee in hand, saw Cole's face. You decided, Frank said. Yeah. What are you going to do? Fight. Gonna lose. I know. Frank nodded slowly. Well, at least you'll lose, right? Emmy came outside, saw Cole, ran to him. He dropped from the horse, caught her. You came back, she said. Told you. Every time. She buried her face in his shoulder. They're coming today, Maya called. Sheriff's bringing social workers at noon. Then we got 4 hours to get ready. Ready for what? Cole set her down, looked her in the eye. Ready to fight like hell. For the first time in days, Emmy smiled. The custody hearing was scheduled for 2 p.m. By noon, half of Timber Falls had packed Cole's living room just to watch him lose. They came at noon exactly. Sheriff Tom Bridger's Bronco led the convoy. Behind him, 2 county vehicles, social workers, a child advocate, someone from the state attorney's office. They parked in a line, official and inevitable, as a funeral procession. But they didn't find Cole alone. Pastor Holmes sat at the kitchen table, paperwork spread out. Dr. Maya stood by the stove, arms crossed. Frank leaned against the doorframe, quiet but solid. And behind them, filling the living room, Miss Henderson from the church, Mr. Hutchins from the feed store, 3 ranch hands from neighboring properties. Old Doc Morrison, who'd delivered Sarah 20 years ago. The whole damn town, or enough of it? Bridger came through the door, saw the crowd, stopped. Cole, what is this? Due process, Pastor Holmes said. You're removing a child from a home. These citizens have a right to witness that decision. This isn't a public hearing. Then make it one, Maya said. You want her? Explain why. In front of everyone. Bridger's jaw tightened. Behind him, a woman in a gray suit stepped forward. Sarah Chen, state child advocate. Professional, tired, carrying a briefcase that had seen 1,000 cases like this. Mr. Coleman, Chen said. We're not here to argue. We have a court order. The child comes with us today for placement in transitional care while we investigate permanent options. No, Cole said. This isn't optional. I filed for emergency foster licensure. Pastor Holmes submitted it yesterday. That gives me legal standing to contest removal. Chen opened her briefcase, pulled out papers. Your application is under review. It doesn't supersede the court order. The child is currently in an unlicensed home with an unvetted guardian. She comes with us. Emmy stood at the top of the stairs watching. Cole could feel her presence like pressure in his chest. She ran from state care, Cole said. Walked 100 miles barefoot in January. You gonna tell this room why? We're not discussing confidential case details. The foster home in Billings is under investigation, Maya cut in. 3 children reported abuse, 1 hospitalized. Emmy was number 4. Chen's expression didn't change, which is why she's not returning there. We have a transitional facility. How many transitional facilities has she been through? Cole asked. How many more before you find one that doesn't hurt her? Miss Coleman, I understand your concern. Do you? Cole's voice stayed level, but something dangerous moved underneath. Because I don't think you do. I think you see another file, another case number, another kid who will disappear into the system and maybe come out okay, maybe not. That's not fair, Chen said. No. What's not fair is that little girl upstairs has been through 6 placements in 3 years. 6. And every single one of them failed her. The room had gone silent. Everyone watching. Chen looked at Emmy. Is that true? Emmy nodded, small. And you ran from the last one, Chen continued. Why? Emmy's hands gripped the railing, didn't answer. She doesn't have to, Cole started. Yes, I do. Emmy's voice cut through. She came down the stairs slow, stood in the middle of the room, surrounded by adults. Tell them, Cole said gently. Tell them what you told me. Emmy looked at him, then at Chen, then at Sheriff Bridger, who'd known her for exactly 9 days and was here to take her away. The foster dad, Emmy said, voice small but clear. In Billings, he locked me in the dark, for hours, sometimes days, said it would teach me respect. The room shifted, people leaning forward. And my sister, Rose, she was there too. One night she asked me to stay with her. In the room, she had a bad feeling. Emmy's voice cracked. I didn't. I was mad at her, so I left her alone. And he came in. She couldn't finish, but she didn't need to. Everyone in that room knew exactly what she meant. Maya's hand went to her mouth. Mrs. Henderson started crying. Even Bridger looked sick. 3 days later, Rose died. Emmy continued. Hospital said internal bleeding. They asked questions, but nobody told. Because we were scared. Chen knelt down, eye level with Emmy. Why didn't you report this? I did, told my caseworker. She said, without proof, without another witness, they couldn't remove me. Said I needed to be patient while they investigated. Emmy's hands were shaking, so I ran instead. Because patient meant maybe he'd kill me too. Chen stood slowly, looked at her papers, looked at Emmy, looked at Cole. Mr. Coleman, she said finally, the law is clear. Without proper licensure, then I'll get it, Cole said. However long it takes, whatever they need. Background checks, home inspections, training courses. I'll do it all. That could take months. Then give me months. The child can't stay in an unlicensed home while you go through the process. Why not? Pastor Holmes stood. He's fed her, clothed her, kept her safe, more than the state has managed in 3 years. The law failed her. Maya's voice cracked like a whip. The law said she needed to be patient while her sister died. The law put her back in houses that hurt her. Maybe it's time the law made an exception. Chin closed her briefcase. I don't write the laws, Dr. Santos. I enforce them. Then enforce them somewhere else, Mrs. Henderson said, standing. That child stays here. Ma'am. She stays. Mr. Hutchins stood, then Doc Morrison, then the ranch hands. One by one, the whole room standing. Bridger looked at the crowd, then at Cole. You're putting me in an impossible position. I know. I have to follow the order. I know that too. They stared at each other, old friends on opposite sides. But, Bridger said slowly, there might be another way. Chin turned. Sheriff? Temporary emergency custody, Bridger said. Judge Morrison could grant it. Keeps the kid here while Coleman goes through proper channels. If he's serious about getting licensed, we give him the chance to prove it. That's not standard. Nothing about this is standard. Bridger looked at Emmy. Is it? Chen was quiet a long time. Then, 30 days, supervised. Doctor. Santos conducts weekly wellness checks. Pastor Holm monitors through the church. Any sign of neglect or danger, she comes with us immediately. And Mr. Coleman, she fixed Cole with a hard stare. You complete every requirement for that license. Every single one. Or this ends. Cole felt something crack open in his chest. Not victory, not even relief, just the smallest sliver of hope. 30 days, he said. 30 days. Chen left first. Then the social workers. The crowd dispersed slowly, people squeezing Cole's shoulder, nodding to Emmy. Mrs. Henderson hugged her before leaving. When the house was empty, except for Cole, Emmy, Frank, and Maya, the silence felt enormous. 30 days, Frank said finally. Well now, that's something. Emmy looked at Cole. Is it over? No, he said honestly. It's just starting. I gotta get licensed. Gotta prove I can do this right. And in 30 days, they might still take you. But you tried. Yeah, I tried. Emmy crossed the room, took his hand, just held it. It was the first time she'd reached for him first. Thank you, she whispered. Cole squeezed her hand. Couldn't speak past the tightness in his throat. Outside, March wind rattled the windows. Inside, the lamp burned steady on the table. They'd bought themselves time, that was all. But time was everything. Emmy lit every lamp in the house that night. Not because she thought Cole would get lost, but because she finally knew what home meant. 33 days later, the license came through on a Thursday. Pastor Holm brought the letter himself, grinning wider than Cole had seen in 20 years. It's official, Holm said. You're a licensed foster parent. State approved. Cole held the paper, stared at the stamp. Just like that? Just like that. Well, after 8 home inspections, 12 reference checks, 40 hours of training courses, and Dr. Maya vouching for your sanity. Holmes squeezed his shoulder. You did it, Cole. Emmy was at the table, homework spread out. She looked up, uncertain. Does that mean... means you're staying, Cole said. Long as you want. Her face split into the kind of smile he hadn't seen yet. Pure joy. She jumped up, hugged him hard. Cole held her, this fierce small girl who'd walked into his life through snow and changed everything. You sure you want me? Emmy asked, muffled against his shirt. Kid, I'm sure. That evening, Emmy stood at her bedroom window. The oil lamp sat on the sill, burning steady. The crack in the glass caught the light, made it shimmer. Cole found her there. "What are you doing?" "Making sure someone can see it," Emmy said. "The light. Why?" "In case someone else is walking, like I was." He understood then. She'd taken the vigil he'd kept for a ghost and turned it into something living. A beacon for the lost. "That's good," Cole said. "Sarah would have liked that." Emmy looked at him. "You think she's okay, wherever she is?" "Yeah, I think she's more than okay." They stood together, watching the darkness outside. March had turned to April. Snow was gone, creek running fast, first green showing on the cottonwoods, spring coming, like it always did, patient and sure. "Cole?" Emmy's voice was soft. "What you said before, about debts. Not paying them forward?" "Yeah, I think I get it now." "Yeah? You couldn't save Sarah, but you saved me, and maybe someday I'll save someone else. And it keeps going." Cole's throat went tight. "That's exactly right." Emmy leaned against his shoulder, not scared anymore, just tired, just home. "Home's where someone keeps a light on," she said. "Yeah," Cole agreed. "I think that's right." Outside, the Montana night spread wide and dark. Inside, every lamp in the house burned bright. Not for ghosts anymore. For the living, for anyone still walking through the cold. 3 months later, Cole stood on the porch in the early morning, coffee in hand. Emmy was in the kitchen with Frank, laughing at something the old cowboy said. The sound drifted out the open door, light and easy and real. He thought about Sarah sometimes, still. But the weight was different now, less like drowning, more like remembering. The diary was in a box in the attic. The room was Emmy's now, repainted yellow at her request, filled with her drawings and books and the snow globe on the nightstand. The lamp still burned in the window every night, Emmy's ritual, her promise to the dark. Cole took a sip of coffee, watched the sun rise over the ranch, the land stretching gold and green to the mountains. He'd failed Sarah. That truth didn't go away, but he'd shown up for Emmy, every day, every time, just like he'd promised. Some debts couldn't be paid back, but they could be paid forward, and that, Cole thought, might be enough. Behind him, Emmy appeared in the doorway, new boots on her feet, the sturdy kind meant for Montana winters, not running shoes, staying shoes. "You coming in?" she asked. Frank made pancakes. Cole turned, smiled. "Yeah, kid, I'm coming." He followed her inside. The door closed on the cold. The light kept burning,